from the crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 173 of Dads from the Crypt. My name is Jason. Tonight, I'm joined by Mondo.
Hello.
And Jody.
Hello.
Hello, Jody. I didn't mean to cut you off before we started recording, but it's the kind of thing where you press the button and there's like a 5-second delay till it actually starts to you start talking before.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I just took a moment when the logo popped up. Say, okay, I'll just calm down and get ready for the show now. It's time.
I guess what I have to say doesn't matter. It's
quit rambling now. Time to get down to business.
That's how Jason handles parenting too. His kids come in his office like, "Dad, I have a question." He just shoves the door closed.
I just play the Dads in the Crypt theme like a button.
The door closes. Dad's in the Crypt thing kicks in.
Have it at the ready on your phone anytime. Sorry, kids.
Podcasting. It is good to be back. It's been a hell of a couple of weeks.
Especially for y'all out in California.
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate everyone that checked in on me, and me and my family we were definitely close. Like we're like a 5-minute drive from places that now look like it was hit by a hurricane. But we are thankfully like on the other side of a freeway and a bunch of other stuff. So and more now my concern is more air quality and water quality and stuff. But we're very lucky. We hope everyone that has been listening is safe as well. But yeah, there's a lot of bad news out there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and there's a weird thing going on where people are kind of like, I think almost less sympathetic to it because it's Los Angeles, and sometimes the perception is that if you live in Los Angeles, you're rich, you're famous. No. It's everyday people losing everything they made. And you want to know what? And even if you have the money to rebuild or buy a new house, you can't replace the memories you made in that house. You can't replace the sentimental thing. So it's not the time for that. It's the time for us as people to come together and try to, stand side by side and lift this shit up. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife works for a community organization, and the amount of like donations and money that's come in, she like went to Target and bought like $2,000 worth of gift cards to hand out with donations. So it's really cool to see that. But there's like a place where like my wife got some of her tattoos. It burnt down. The owner's house burnt down. The owner's father's house burnt down. It's like, I know, it's awful.
See, my biggest struggle this week has been my air fryer quit working. So I feel like maybe I've had the easy route so far for 2025.
Well, I can tell you, we got a bigger air fryer.
I did upgrade once mine burned out. I got another one.
Gotta send my old one, but that's my tips for the week. Get a bigger air fryer because it makes a world difference.
Oh yeah, no, the one that's coming tomorrow is 8 quarts after the 7-quart one that I had before.
I think I was just like 9 or 10. It's like I get like 6 chicken thighs in there.
There's only 3 of us. Yeah, there's only 3 of us. I have a 6-quart one, works just fine. Might even be a 4-quart. I don't know, but it works great.
This is air fryer talk on Dads from the Crypt.
Hey, you know what? Like, if you've never used an air fryer before, the first time you cook a boneless, skinless chicken breast in the air fryer, you're gonna be pissed off because you're gonna be like, I've spent hours fucking seasoning this and cooking it on the stove or whatever, and it doesn't come out as good as salt, pepper, whatever, garlic, salt, pepper, paprika, throw it in the air fryer for 8 minutes, whatever. Fucking delicious.
Well, again, we're not using our barbecue right now for many reasons. So we got burgers the other night, and I put them in the air fryer, and I was like, these are actually really good. It's quicker and easier.
Dude, leftover pizza.
Yeah, leftover pizza is
so much better.
So
any frozen food is better.
Anything frozen,
like chicken nuggets or anything like that. Like
I was screaming from the rooftops when I was eating carbs. I was like, pizza rolls, fucking pizza rolls in the air fryer.
Man. Yeah.
I mean, even like salmon, really good in the air fryer.
Mhm.
So
If any of you guys ever find me dead in my house, I'm just surrounded by empty bags of Tostino pizza rolls and empty York peppermint patty wrappers. Just know I left doing something that I love.
I was gonna
You
say,
went
it's not like a happy way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Tonight we're doing another Creepshow episode. This is the season 2 finale, the 5th episode, which came out on April 29th, 2001. It's called Nights of the Living Late Show. Jody, give us a plot.
2001?
2021.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, this is time machine.
Yeah, I don't normally talk about what the little like animated intros have happening in them because they're usually not much of anything. But this one actually started off with, you know, a little bit more. We get to see the Creep, and he is animated, and he gets a VR headset and puts it on, and then it jumps into like a PS2 era looking Night of the Living Dead game that actually looks
with the
like something I
PS3.
would
There's
play.
some good. There's some like good shadows and reflections on there.
Okay, so maybe it's a little better than I was watching this on my laptop at Starbucks today, so I was happy that this was not one of the more gruesome episodes because there were other people like sitting in the place right behind me. It's just a little gruesome. So our main story tonight, just one story. It's one of the very few times the show has only done one story for the whole thing. Night of the Living Late Show, where we meet a man named Simon Sherman, played by Justin Long. He's an inventor, and he is in a marriage that's having difficulties. His wife is D'Arcy Camden from The Good Place, which is an excellent show if you haven't watched it. But he creates a thing called the Immersopod. It's a virtual reality machine where it's got hundreds of, it's like a tanning bed with 100 cameras in it. And it's supposed to like monitor your moves, but you're not actually moving. I'm not sure what the cameras are for because you're just laying there.
They like to scan your body and like imprint you into the virtual.
So they do scans to put you into the movies, basically, is the whole point of it. There's a controller that you use for everything, like a joystick that just sticks up like out of the bottom of part of the tanning bed. You hold that, and with your thumb, you can start and stop it and control things. I mean, this episode was made for movie nerds because the first thing I thought when I saw that was, wow, that's cool, and I want one. So but they can put themselves into the movie, they can interact with it any way they want, and he is using it mostly to escape his marriage because they're having struggles. They've been married for a little over a year, and he keeps putting himself into the movie The Horror Express from 1972. Do you know why he's in that movie? Because that's a public domain movie,
and it's really good though.
It is good. It's a legit movie, a real movie, but it is public domain. And so it's the first thought I had when they said Horror Express. I'm like, oh, okay, they didn't have to pay anybody to use this footage.
I really like that movie though, so I thought it was pretty. I thought it was cool.
I want to watch it now, but yeah, I mean, any movie with the white eyes and people bleeding out their face holes.
Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing.
Mono's gonna like that movie.
Yeah. And I will say, they made the scenes where he was inside the movie, they were very cool because they made him match the setting of the movie and interact and move within the movie world using real footage from the movie. Very cool. It's like what's the Tells episode, I Murderer, where they
You Murderer.
Yes, it reminded me of that, the way that they had old film clips interact with the actor. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, and so he keeps going into the movie, and he talks with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee and all this. But mainly he's there because as a kid, he saw this movie and he fell in love with the character of the Countess. And so he wants to interact with her. And he does. He interacts a bunch with her, from talking with her to making out with her, to his wife coming home when he was supposedly sick and finding him naked in his Immersopod, making little grunt sounds. And she knows what's up. She's smart.
They were
figure this out.
They weren't little grunt sounds.
Yeah,
they were.
So she discovers that he has definitely been using this to get away from her, to interact with his virtual woman and to be unfaithful to her within this movie. And so she enters the movie herself and confronts the Countess, and she gets attacked by the film's antagonist, this monster creature, and it makes her eyes bleed. And so she manages to stop the simulation and get out of the machine, but the injuries that happened to her inside it also transferred to real life. She has blood all over her face when she comes out. And so because of this, she decides she's going to get back at Simon. And next time Simon is in there, she gets her revenge by switching the movie from Horror Express to Night of the Living Dead, which also is a public domain movie. And so he's in the zombie movie. He can be killed by the zombies, but she takes it one step further by taking some pruning shears and chopping off his thumb so that he cannot stop the machine, and leaves him in this situation where the zombies are eating him. And then we get some more of the PS3 era Not of the Living Dead game that only exists in this show to wrap us up.
It kind of goes to a Dawn of the Dead scenario.
Yeah.
With the
Well, Dawn of
the
the Dead, and then it ends with a Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead, yeah.
Yeah. I would play the fuck out of that game. That looks
badass. No, I want that game.
No question.
Maybe better graphics, but
no, I know. I just found those graphics. I'll take it.
I don't know, man. I remember when I was a kid, one of my favorite games for the Nintendo 64 was Turok the Dinosaur Hunter.
Yes.
And then I got it when they had like on Steam sale 1 year for like $1. I'm like, fucking A, remastered? I'll play that. No, it's borderline impossible to play now. They're so used to such high-res graphics.
There's one generation of games that I feel like aged so badly. Like the Nintendo stuff, pixel graphics looks totally fine now still. The 2D, like the Super Nintendo, that everything there, like the RPGs from that era look gorgeous. But the GameCube era, like Ocarina of Time and stuff, I can hardly play. Mario 64, I can hardly play those games anymore because all those sharp angle, like it was the first time the polygons came in. And
yeah, I mean, not to get too deep into it, but like I don't mind the graphics, but the controls are just
bad.
It's the first generation of like 3D environments that they're trying to navigate, and they're still figuring out the controls. And so it's really, really, really rough.
It's rough trying to
we're way off topic, Jason. Look at what you let us do. But the Dreamcast had it the Sega Saturn had it figured out with a game called Knights that had a circular controller. Like they kind of figured out how that 3D movement needed to work. But yeah, it wasn't until we got the two joysticks that it really makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, that 64 controller, uncomfortable as shit. I was gonna say,
it is.
That controller sucked.
All right, Mondo, what'd you think of this episode?
I really enjoyed it. I'm like Jody said, I love interspersing the black and white with the age film with the new film. I think Justin Long is a lot of fun in this, the way he interacts with the characters, and he's geeking out over them, and the way they picked like the right comedic pauses for him to do this, so as the characters aren't even recognizing him. My only little complaint, this is a very, very minor complaint, is at the end, I thought she was trying to kill him to like make it look like an accident and maybe collect some insurance money. I think if the cops came and his thumb had been cut off with a pair of gardening shears, that they might have had a question or two about why he didn't have a thumb.
Well, she was rich, so I don't guess the insurance.
Oh, that is true.
Because that was a whole subplot that I didn't get into, where that her father thinks that he married her for her money, and kind of looks that way.
Well, it looks like he's one of those starving artists, maybe, but to the point though where he's a star, but he's also a loser at the same time, I guess. Like he's a starving artist, but he's not really doing art or doing anything aside from he's obsessed with this VR game. Yeah, overall, I was expecting, because Greg Nicotero directed it, so I was expecting a lot more like kind of over the top gore and stuff. And I remember once I watched it, but I was actually kind of impressed with how restrained it is and how it really only uses, aside from the thumb being removed, it really only uses the horror scenes, the gory scenes, I should say, from the 72 film. I thought it was really well done.
That's smart producing, because you don't have to spend money, you still get the effects.
Special effects.
Yeah. And Justin Long, I just love his resurgence in horror, and he always plays almost the same character, but it works. Like
Mhm.
that the boyish looks and everything just work for this kind of slightly sleazy character.
Well, and the first part of this too, he is so likable and relatable before you find out about all the other stuff going on in his life. Like when he first goes into the machine and he's geeking out over everything, I'm like, I would absolutely be just like that.
Yeah,
Well,
Then he gets to where his real intentions are to cheat on his wife, and there you're like, okay.
well, I'd say it was just I'd say it was an obsession with something,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like if you have a friend and he's like, oh man, I love Magic the Gathering, and then he's bringing cool cards to work, and you're looking at him. Then you go to his house and you realize that he can't afford food for his kids because spends all his money on Magic the Gathering cards. Suddenly, what turned out to be a cool hobby turns out to be all right. You're a little bit obsessed. You're going over the top with it.
Well, I love that he invents this brand new groundbreaking entertainment technology that probably costs millions of dollars, so he could have virtual sex with a woman in a movie from his childhood.
Well, I would think, well, it's kind of interesting because even in the United States, a lot of times our technological advances come because of adult films.
Mhm.
Well,
The whole Betamax versus VHS. Betamax was higher quality than VHS, but VHS went out because the porn industry went with VHS.
Mhm.
Same thing happened with Blu-ray over HD DVD. So I think what it is like sometimes it's the mother of invention is his libido. Well, he made this because of his libido, which is
I mean,
fucking
it's
men.
one thing.
Stupid. This is the
It's
shit
one
we
thing
do.
for it's one thing for an industry trend, but we're like that one invention.
No, but that's what I mean. I think some of the mentality
Yeah.
is I can sell this
Mhm.
to lonely people out there who can possibly get their rocks off or whatever.
Yeah, but that's
Your
where a lot of
strange way
the,
to
the
say.
narrative stuff gets a little fuzzy for me in this because, like, in the first scene, he's acting like he didn't know this actually worked. Like he's just turning it on for the first time, but he invented this. He should know
Well,
exactly what this thing can and can't do.
well, it may
But,
have
you know,
been in
there's-
like beta levels before this or something.
Mhm.
Like maybe they all look pixelated, or he could kind of interact or something. Like
Yeah,
this
Like,
was
I
the
mean,
final. Like it really worked.
yeah, it just made it seem like he just walked in the room and like, oh, I have this invention that I made, but I don't know anything about, and then I'm just gonna try it. Like if there was like some line that's like, oh, okay, I'm upgrading XYZ, I'm just doing a patch or something, and now it looks great.
I thought it was pretty obvious. I thought it was just his eureka moment. Like that's when, the Wright brothers at one point had to try to fly that fucking plane, and when they did, they were probably
Yeah,
pretty
but
excited about it, even though they invented it.
you do quality testing and everything. Like there's like you don't just like try something for the first time and it works.
You know what though? That's the first time they had a human pilot sitting inside that thing. So yeah, it is kind
I'm
of.
sure, I'm sure they tested the thing, or did like other versions of it before they did the
I'm,
big
I'm, I'm,
one.
I'm sure there was a whole development cycle that happened before what we got to see in this. So
Yeah.
that didn't really bother me. But
I think kind of everything else, all excuse me, all the real world stuff kind of bothered me a little bit. I just felt like it was really underwritten. I didn't like that house, really bugged me. Like there's like pools everywhere, like every like 10 yards is another swimming pool or like decorative pool, and like even in their bedroom there's like the water reflecting everywhere. That was
Jason will
weird.
find the weirdest fucking ways to hate on a movie. The water was
I know, I'm saying it's that just seemed really in the way that they're written. I didn't really buy a lot of their interactions, and like he just seems like such a dope. And maybe that's intentional, but the way he's going about everything, he's like, "Oh, I'm sick."
yeah, but I mean, you could tell even before that though that their relationship was going through some bad time. Just the way that she reacted to, I've made this cool, amazing new invention, and she was like, "Neat. Do you want in it?" No. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, there's like a lack of chemistry between them. Which again, maybe that's the point. There's just
I think it's intentional. I think it's
Yeah, I think so
intentional
too.
that they're because again, like Jody mentioned, I think they were trying when you mentioned it, they're trying to play off that maybe he did marry her just for the money or just for maybe not like nefariously just for the money, but that's a piece of it. Him knowing he can now pursue his interests without having to worry about going and putting 40 hours a week.
For as long as the episode was, I just felt like there's a lot of that parts were very underwritten.
I'd agree. I would agree with you, but I think it's to shine a light though on the VR parts.
Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah, because the VR parts are so much cooler and so much better. And again, I had no clue where this was going, and I never heard of the Horror Express. So when they find a crate with a monster in it, I thought, "Oh, are we in like a prequel to Creepshow? Is this fun?"
Yeah.
Like, how cool would it have been if he actually went into the Creepshow movie, which they should have. Maybe they might have the rights to. If they have the rights to the
Yeah.
Creepshow name, like that would have been really cool if it was going through the Creepshow movie.
I mean, maybe that was the original idea, and then legal stuff got in the way of it.
Yeah.
Because that'd be awesome. That would be great.
Yeah, I thought that would be a really cool way to use that. But this movie looks really cool. I'm gonna go watch it. And then we get to go into the Night of the Living Dead, which is a classic movie. So that was really cool.
There's a funny scene. I think he tells Ben, he goes, "Don't worry, you're gonna be okay." And I'm like, "No, he's not gonna be okay." That's not how that movie ends.
Don't get his hopes up. The opening and closing VR stuff was really freaking cool. I was like, I want to play that game, or I want to watch more of this game. That's all looks really cool. Great homage to George Romero.
There's also the Creep being really playful, much like the
Creep. Yeah. I know, like
he's more sinister, definitely.
Yeah, it was just really fun, and then which we don't usually get. So I was like really, really impressed by that.
I don't normally even mention the Creep segments because they're normally not. Yeah, I mean, it's just like an intro, like sliding past him while he points at something or picks something up or whatever. This was like a fully thought out intro beforehand.
Yeah, so I'm very curious, like who the developer was, or what the deal with that was. Yeah, but I definitely played that as a demo. So everything kind of in the virtual stuff, I really enjoyed. Everything kind of out didn't really work as well for me, but that's my 2 cents. Jody, what'd you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Just the whole being in the movie thing was enough for me to love this episode, even if it hadn't had like a pretty decent story. Like, there's not a whole lot of story to it. I mean, the couple's having trouble. He cheats. She finds out and gets revenge. A very, very simple story, but the whole way that was told, and especially the VR stuff, I loved seeing like the parts where the movie interacted with the show and they made it look like he was interacting with them. One thing I thought was really cool too is the Countess in the show or in the movie is played by the original actress that played the Countess, in archival footage, but also for some of the scenes, like when she's chasing the wife and saying you can't have him or he's mine. They had another actress who just has a lot of similar features, and it kind of blends right in. It's the actress from VHS, that first segment with like the lady whose head splits down the middle.
The succubus,
yeah.
She also kind of plays the same role like in the Siren. Her name is Hannah Fryman.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the artistry of them doing those scenes and how well they blended it was very cool.
Yeah, and I've always liked that kind of stuff. Everything from You Murderer to Forrest Gump. Like, that was my favorite part of Forrest Gump, was seeing him like talk to politicians from the past. So yeah, I thought it was a fun concept. I thought it was well done, and it was fun seeing it in Horror Express. Pretty obscure movie, I think. I mean, horror nerds might know about it, but it was fun seeing that because it makes you want to go watch the original movie. And I had some fun knowing it was public domain, just because it gave me a production assist there, figuring out how they did it and why they did it with that particular movie. But yeah, it was a really good episode. I enjoyed it a lot.
My other question is, again, in the real world, when she cuts off his thumb, he can't use his other fingers.
I had that same problem.
well, who knows? Because again, that finger is resting on there, so I don't know.
I'm thinking if my thumb got put off, I could move my finger up around and hit the button.
I mean, but
if the alternative was getting eaten by zombies.
Maybe you're paralyzed except your fingers. So who knows?
Man, that's part of it. Yeah. Put your body in like suspended animation while you're in there.
Jody, just a friendly reminder: you still need to watch Lola from Chattanooga Film Festival in 2023. It's very, very reminiscent of how they do that film, how they did this.
Yeah.
What else? Anything? First of all, Darcy Carden, played the wife from The Good Place. She's always awesome. I love her.
Great.
Good Janet.
Janet, yes. She was also in this other show I watched recently. Nobody Wants This. Just like more of like a side friendly character, but that was really good.
I love A Good Place, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it. So if you want to see it,
Don't
just
spoil
go
the ending.
for it.
I still haven't watched the last season.
No, it's not any. But I just love when Janet gets her boyfriend Derek,
Yes.
and he's got like a martini glass full of Scrabble tiles, and just walk around with the weirdest possible drinks. It's always fun.
I remember me and my wife were watching through The Good Place, and then COVID hit, and we're just like, this is too existential for us to finish.
Yeah, it's one of the few shows that manages to both be actually funny and like thought-provoking in some really interesting ways.
And a great example of taking a show, an idea from start to finish, and not bloating it. Like, because they offered him, I think, two extra seasons, and
it ended perfectly.
He turned it down. He goes, "No, this is my story arc, and it's going to be finished." I thought it was
awesome.
Really well.
That's cool.
Anyhow.
All right. I think that wraps up any other thoughts that we might have. We'll do an episode rating 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. Jody.
I'm gonna give this one a 4. The story's a little slight, it didn't have like that, jaw drop twist kind of moment that sometimes they do, but it was just really cool in how they told it, and especially all those VR things.
Mondo.
Yep, I'm at a 4 too. It's like Jody said, just not a ton of plot, but it's just a lot of fun, I think, and there's always room for that in my viewing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm doing a 3.5 for being an extra long episode. You need a little more smoothing out. That's not a bad score whatsoever.
I really think this one was probably extra long just because they wanted to include as many scenes in the Horror Express stuff as they could, so they just packed them in there.
Did you knock off a half star for the watery reflections?
I'm just saying, if I'm sleeping and then there's like water like shimmering on my face, that would be a pain in the ass.
It's a good thing you weren't sleeping and you're watching an episode of a TV show.
Yes, trust me, my wife loves going to sleep with the TV on, and so I always wait for her to fall asleep so I can turn it off.
Oh, you do the same thing? No, my wife loves having the TV on. I just the light bothers me.
Yeah, exactly. So all right. I'm actually going to do something special. I'm going to do a trio of shoutouts tonight.
Hi, I'm that guy. And you're listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Hello, I'm Ernest Dickerson, the director of Demon Night, and you are listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Hello, I'm William Sadler from Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night, and you are listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Oh,
excellent! I couldn't choose one, so I had to do all.
Yeah.
If anybody hasn't heard our interview with William Sadler, one of my favorite parts of that interview is when he just talks about music. You can tell how passionate he is about how much he loves that part of his life, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so in case you haven't been following Dads for the Crypt for the last couple of weeks, we did a big celebration for the 30th anniversary of Demon Night. So we re-released our interviews with William Sadler, and with Ethan and Cyrus, the screenwriters, and our review we did with our friend Natalie, and we released it on her birthday. So happy birthday, Natalie! And then I was also able to get a bunch of shout outs from people wishing Demon Night happy birthday, from Ernest and Sadler and a bunch of other people who worked on the movie and put that on our YouTube. So make sure you check that out. The irony is I was trying to see if I could get a screening of Demon Night together for like the last 6 months, and it just wasn't able to do it, or at least in any cost-effective way. And of course, the irony is if I had gotten it together, it probably would have been canceled. With everything else happened.
Yeah. So maybe you got lucky in that regard.
Damned if you do. I mean, and the last time I tried to go to screen Demon Night, I got COVID. So I think it's just one of those things that might not be in my cards.
Wasn't meant to be.
Anyways, Mondo, give us your song of the day.
All right, we're gonna go quick because everybody should know this band. If you don't, shame on you. So Horror Express came out in 1972. In 1972, this band released their album Volume 4. The band is Black Sabbath, the greatest band in the history of music, and I will fight someone over that. Literally my favorite band of all time and my favorite guitar player of all time. The reason why I wanted to be a guitar player was because Tony Iommi is just the god of the riff. So I picked the song Snowblind off the album Volume 4 from Black Sabbath. Volume 4 is a fantastic record. Changes on my favorite. I love Changes, but it kind of doesn't fit with the horror theme. So Snowblind's about just being addicted to cocaine. So why not?
Yeah, that is a great song.
It's a wonderful song. I think Megadeth covered it, and or maybe they covered Paranoid. But, Dave Mustaine, great guitar player. Fucking dude can't sing, man. Like, I'm sorry, Dave. You're a wonderful guitar player. You can't sing.
Follow up. I did listen to Uncle Acid the other day, and I really dug it. And I actually I go to an acupuncturist once a couple times a month, and I always play this like new like agey like meditation music that I don't like. So I put on some of that while as Lynn the Needles do their thing. So.
So you gotta cool. See if it was like the earlier albums, like the Stoner Doom kind of psychedelic rock, or then the newest record they did is a Giallo soundtrack. Yeah,
that's what I was listening to.
Fuck, it's so good. It sounds like really nothing they've ever done, and it's like my favorite thing they've ever done.
Yeah. So thank you for that recommendation.
You're welcome. And great band to see live. I saw them right before everything got shut down for the pandemic. I saw them open for King Diamond in San Francisco. So they're really fantastic band if anybody gets a chance to catch them.
Nice. All right, Jody, give us some horror news.
All right. This last week, we got a new trailer for Hard Eyes. Previously, we'd only gotten a teaser. This one is, I mentioned it in our end of the year episode, one of the ones I'm most excited about for 2025. It releases on February 7th. The reason I'm excited is Josh Rubin from Dropout, College Humor is directing, and the script is written by Christopher Landon, who did Happy Death Day 1 and 2 and Freaky, and also Michael Kennedy, who did Spontaneous. Hang on. I'm getting my guys mixed up. Michael Kennedy. What did he direct? Sorry. Sometimes you just have to look up things on Google while you're talking, and you get to vamp while you do.
It's okay. We should, if we're good
co-host, I thought I had it pulled up, but then I was wrong.
We'd fill that time in, but we failed you.
There are so many people named Michael Kennedy, and I can't find his stuff.
He's not the member of the
we can do an edit here.
Michael Kennedy.
What's that?
He's not a member of the North Carolina State Senate.
Okay, here we go. He also co-wrote Freaky and It's a Wonderful Knife and the new movie Time Cut. So they all like this like quirky kind of a horror comedy, and I like that kind of stuff too. I just rewatched Freaky first time in years, and that movie is fantastic. I love Freaky so much, and we also watched Happy Death Day. My daughter had to sleep over and was looking for like a good scary movie to watch with 13-year-old girls. And I'm like, all right, I got one for you. That was a good time.
No, yeah, that trailer looks really good.
What's that?
The trailer looks really good.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And also Devin Sawa is in it.
Yeah, Devin Sawa's in it. Yeah, there's enough good stuff there that my hopes are probably too high, because I mean it's also a new slasher, which is another thing I get excited about. So I got a lot of hopes for that one. I hope it turns out good. February 7th. We don't have to wait too much longer.
You know, I love Josh Rubin, but I didn't love Scare Me.
I think Scare Me was a little more experimental in the way it was trying to do something. I want to see him just straight direct a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for it.
Also, the movie You're Next, which is another one that I just rewatched for the first time in a long time, is getting a limited edition 4K steelbook coming out this year in the next few weeks, I think. And that movie is also another one that is so good. I haven't revisited it in years, and it's even better than I remembered it. This is not really news. It's just something I learned today. So one of those public domain movies, you know, there's so many of them, but this one is Screamboat. It's a Steamboat Willie thing, but David Howard Thornton's in it. So that's the only thing that makes me think I might give it a chance. At least it's probably going to be terrible. He plays like evil Mickey Mouse. It's going to be terrible.
This weekend, so it'll be right before this episode comes out. It is Days of the Dead Horror Con here in Vegas, and they're doing a special screening of that, which sold out in like 6 hours.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't have whole.
It's probably going to be terrible, but I guess
it would be a good convention watch.
Yeah,
in a crowd,
that'd be a
like
fun
that,
movie to watch in the crowd, probably. Yeah.
But I'm looking at the poster here, and it says from the producers of Terrifier 2 and The Mean One. So it's not part of the Pooverse or Pooniverse or whatever they're calling it. But
I will go to bat for The Mean One. That was a fun movie.
The Mean was pretty fun, yeah. All right. For books, today, the day that we are recording, is the release day of Grady Hendrix' new book, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. And if you were a Grady Hendrix fan, you probably already looked that up just because he's a great guy. He's a fun guy to talk to and listen to. And I'm excited for anything he writes. His last book, How to Sell a Haunted House, was my favorite thing he's written. So I've been excited watching him get better and better throughout his career.
Pretty awesome.
He was there the year you were at CFF, right, Mondo?
Yep. That's when he did his presentation for How to Sell a Haunted House, and
he is so good.
We got our books autographed afterwards. He was just the nicest guy. Yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah, our friend Allison went to like a preview thing he did in New York.
Yeah,
and she posted about a bunch about it. It looked like it was a good time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, Clay Chapman McLeod just had his new book come out too.
I was about to say that too. Wake Up and Open Your Eyes just released, and I've heard many people saying like it's actually a very scary book. So I'm excited. I like Clay a lot too. So
is that the person Allison had on Who's Next?
Yes. Yeah. He's been on there. He also is at Chattanooga Film Fest, I think every year now. He's been there at least the last 4 or 5, and he does storytelling and gets an inch or so from your face sometimes. At least he did for me this last year. Allison forced us to sit in the front row, and I told her, I said, we don't want to sit in the front row at Clay's show. And she said, no, we need to sit right here. And he was 6 inches from my nose at one point telling the story. So
whenever I go to Wise Guys out here to see live comedy, they always like, oh yeah, we have a seat right up front. And I'm like, no.
Do you not want to be interacted with?
I'm totally cool being in the back. Yeah.
Yeah. One more release that is both a toy release and a Blu-ray release. Night of the Creeps is getting a 4K UHD, but the most important part of it is if you order it from Scream Factory, you can get a Tom Atkins action figure. And doesn't everyone need a Tom Atkins action figure in their house?
Yes.
So yeah, I'll probably at least order the Tom Atkins, even if I don't get the Blu-ray. It's a new year, and I've rediscovered my love for buying toys of various kind. I haven't bought anything in a while, and I have now, and I got a Frankenberry behind me on my shelf. There's Krusty the Clown, and it really does talk. It's directly from the Treehouse of Horror. There's a good mode and an evil mode on the back that you can switch, and he does different sayings based on which one. I ordered a Pumpkinhead figure today. It looks really cool. It's like 9 inches tall and fully articulated. Very excited for that. So I'm rambling tonight. We haven't talked in a while.
It's 9 inches tall, but how girthy is it?
I mean, Pumpkinhead. You can take that how you want to.
He's pretty veiny.
He is very veiny.
Fucking minds in the gutters, guys.
Oh my god.
That's all I got.
I think there's something else released. The Wolfman comes out this weekend.
Yeah,
I've heard
the early reviews have released this today. I think.
Yeah,
it matches what we've heard from another source about this new movie. That it's not so great.
I mean, the last time they rebooted it, they had some phenomenal actors, and it still wasn't that good. So.
Yeah. It's hard to make a good werewolf movie. Like there are good werewolf movies, but there's a lot of really bad werewolf movies out there.
I think sometimes it's used as kind of a a campy plot point to where
Yeah.
it's like we need a killer. It's a werewolf because we only have to shoot night scenes. Like,
Right.
I haven't seen the one that came out this year. The werewolves.
Rules. Yeah, that looked interesting.
I haven't seen that one.
The description I keep hearing is The Purge with werewolves, which 100% sounds like something I want to watch. So I need to get around to it finally.
When I was on the silver screen, we watched Werewolves in a Woman's Prison.
Yeah.
And I will go on record as saying it is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Well, when I was on that podcast, I watched The Howling 3, The Marsupials. That's also a very terrible movie.
Courtney and Alyssa both agree, though, that this one was the worst one we'd all ever seen, I think.
Okay.
I think we all hive-minded that one. I wouldn't recommend either, though. Howling 3 is fucking atrocious.
It was terrible, but we had fun talking about it.
Yeah, same.
So silver screen podcasts for both of those if you missed that.
Like werewolves.
Mm-hmm. Also, I saw today that they're doing a 4K in theater special screening of First Hellraiser.
Yeah.
It's a Fathom event. That's the only negative. Fathom events are very hit or miss, and they did find, I can't remember what movie it was, and I could be off base. I could be remembering this completely wrong. So if I am, I apologize to the great organizers of Fathom events. But I think they're doing some 4K or Blu-ray showing, and found out they're using just like an old DVD they found.
Yeah,
I don't think it's found. It sounds funny if I say it that way.
I think it was for The Thing. And
yes.
It was a whole internet's kerfuffle about it.
I did get to see The Beyond in 4K.
Yeah, how was that?
And holy shit, it looks great in 4K. So I know Grindhouse is working on that release, so hopefully sooner than later we'll see that hit the streets.
Also, Jody, there's the other exciting news about Crawl 2.
Yes, Crawl 2 has started filming, and I actually am very excited about that. I love Crawl. It's one of those that I've watched with my teenagers multiple times because it's just a fun, jump scary movie. And this next one is in New York. I don't know, because it's supposed to be like Central Park Zoo floods and then the alligators get out from the zoo. I don't know if there's enough alligators to have the full impact of the first movie because there's like alligators everywhere. I want it to be good though. I want it to succeed. I want to jump and throw my popcorn. So I will watch it definitely.
Oh, me too. I like the first one a lot.
Speaking of alligators, last night I watched Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom for the first time in like forever. Oof, that movie's got some roughness on it. I like that it's trying to do something different than the first one because then pretty much all the other Indiana Jones movies kind of follows that template. But there's some really weird choices in that movie.
It is one of the reasons that we have PG-13 ratings.
Yeah,
it's definitely one of the movies that influenced me a lot though.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
like really scary, like the gory type stuff, from ripping that heart out, even though it's tame compared to a lot of things.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, that scene was terrifying.
Hell yeah!
There's some great moments, but there's also a lot of really weird, baffling moments.
Yeah.
And then my oldest son was visiting a couple weeks ago. He's 19 now, for those keeping score. And we watched The Big Lebowski.
No offense, but okay. But if you're keeping score of Jason's age of Jason's kids, like we don't stop listening.
Please move on.
Please don't, but, I showed him he'd never seen The Big Lebowski before, and he loved it. So I was like, okay, I'm doing something right.
Good. My favorite movie of all time.
Yeah. All right. So I think my dad advice for the week is everything you see them do in this Creepshow episode, as far as a couple, do the opposite.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. I thought of a really good Patreon question, but I don't know if you're doing that anymore, Jason.
Oh yeah, I just forget to.
If you had this elaborate VR tanning bed,
yeah,
what movie or movies would you want to go hang out in? Because I know like we're all horror nerds, but like there aren't a whole lot of horror movies I want to go hang out in. Like, except like I can go hang out in Candyman. I'm just not going to say Candyman 5 times. Yeah. No big deal. Easy. Nailed it. But I don't want to go live like in the Terrifier world and accidentally run into Art the Clown. So I was thinking Big Lebowski. I just want to go bowling with the dudes. Like go eat some In-N-Out.
But what horror movie? If it had to be somewhat of a horror. And actually, I did think about like that would be a great question to ask the Patreons if I didn't watch the episode like an hour before we recorded.
It's funny how you thought of that after I mentioned it. That's okay.
I'm looking.
Like, can I just be like in the intros of Tales from the Crypt? Because I think it'd be kind of fun to hang out with the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters might be kind of fun. The ghosts can't really hurt you.
That you know of that they show on screen.
Well, I mean, there's always like the big bad ghost, but like the general ghosts, they can't necessarily hurt you. I think
there are movies that I'd want to visit, but not like play out. Like, I want to go to Camp Crystal Lake just so I can be like, wow, I'm at Camp Crystal Lake, and then leave before Jason shows up. Go for the first scene and then switch out to something else. Midsummer would be really cool right up until they had you eating all the, nasty things and killing people.
You'd stay through the people breaking their legs, never jumping off the cliff.
See that would be probably the point that it'd be like, all right, that's enough of that one. Thumb down.
Thumb down. 1 review, 1 star.
Obvious one would obviously be Bride of Chucky, right?
You just want to see
I'd kill that fucking doll.
Take out Chucky in the first scene.
Miles playing Chucky in the headlock.
Dude, I do jujitsu. We don't do fucking headlocks. That's the worst thing you could ever do in a fight, Jason. All good
though. Relive your childhood and go into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie.
Oh, that'd be awesome. But I definitely want to be I definitely want to be part of that Foot Clan though.
Yeah.
They had video games and pizza.
Yeah. Great. Pretty nice setup.
Yeah. Menthol cigarettes.
I can do that the smoking, but I do want to skateboard and play video games.
With what was that Sam Rockwell? Wasn't that?
I don't remember.
He's one of the he plays one of the punks, like young Sam Rockwell.
God. Dude, that soundtrack and that movie both hold up. The music when the Foot Clan comes, that do no. It's like one of the best things ever. Love that soundtrack so much.
It'd be a really fun movie to be in. Shaun of the Dead.
How would that be fun?
Again, you don't have to stay for the whole movie.
Those are easy.
Okay.
Just go to the first part. Hang out in the pub.
Yeah.
Have a fight, then leave. That's my advice for all of these.
I guess that's true.
Check it out, do the fun stuff, and then get out.
You can hop out at any time, so I guess that makes sense.
There's a lot of
now I'm racking my brain like
want to live through them.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm
looking at my collection and just kind of.
If we put it that way, it'd be a lot of fun you could have.
Jaws, just don't go in the water. You're good. Go hang on the beach.
You gotta just go skiing like during Jaws.
I want to hang out in the bar in Gremlins.
Yeah,
where they're all smoking and drinking and going around on the fan and everything. Just hang out there for a while. It's not the most violent part of Gremlins anyway. Pretty safe. They're chilling there. Yeah, or go watch Snow White with them and sing Hi Ho. That'd be fun.
that seems amazing.
I'm gonna go back to Rocky. Was it Rocky 1 that Hulk Hogan was in? So I can beat the shit out of him.
That's like Rocky 3 or 4.
Rocky 3. Sorry, Rocky 3. Rocky 3.
Yeah, the one with
Clubber Lang.
Mr. T. Yeah.
Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, anything else we want to say before we log off?
I don't know. I figured this. I figured we kept this episode nice and tight, and I like it.
Yeah,
I know.
We even got very off focus in the intro, but still kept it going.
Yeah, I think whatever we're doing.
It's been like 3-4 weeks since we recorded. We're a little rusty. Give us a break.
Hey man, we're old dudes, and end of the year is just end of the year, beginning of the year is just busy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. We appreciate everyone for listening. We'd really appreciate it if you would give us a rating review on iTunes or a rating on Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube. And if TikTok is still a thing when this comes out, give us a follow at Dads from the Crypt Talk.
Do we have that blue sky yet? Did you get?
Yeah, we got the blue sky. I gotta add that.
Okay.
And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.